Good morning. It's Vijay here. Welcome to yet another episode of Pre-Market Commentary. Today is Wednesday, 9th July 2025. So the markets yesterday, gave a lot of heart attacks to bulls for most part of the session, and then they closed significantly higher in the last half an hour. But basically, if you really look at it, what the markets are doing is their markets are trying to throw you off balance. But at the end of the day, if you hold on to your nerve as a bull, then you invariably come back successful. So if you look at the risk reward, the risk is equal to the reward. It is not that there is a high risk in this market at this point of time, though it may appear that the markets are extremely risky because of Mr. Trump and other factors. So risk and reward, in my opinion, are equally balanced at this point of time. So what did the market do yesterday? Market made a smart recovery in the last hour to close near the day's high, both Nifty and Bank Nifty. But that was not the case with the broader markets. In fact, declines outnumbered advances. The very few sectors which really closed well, financials were one such sector, led by Kotak Bank, which came up with spectacular results, I would say, outlook. Yeah, I mentioned that yesterday morning that Kotak Bank could be the hero of the day. I also thought Titan will be the hero of the day, but it was Titan was the villain of the day for bulls. So it was a top nifty loser. And pharma names, people got scared that there is a Trump tariff regime on pharma, which is going to come shortly, which actually came after the markets closed. So pharma were in trouble yesterday. But in my understanding, what Trump has said, I don't think one should really worry too much. One should be buying on decline. But since I am not a SEBI registered advisor, I am not asking anybody to do, but we have pharma stocks and we will continue to look at pharma. So if you look at it graphically, if you see, for most of the time, the market was stuck in the flat line and suddenly it went up. So that's exactly what is likely to happen whenever the markets are beaten black and blue, or they are, as also they say, never short a dull market. Yesterday was one classic example where people shorted the dull market thinking that the market will fall down at the end of the day. On the other hand, it took off. Institutions, FIs did nothing much, 26 crores net sellers. DI is also not much, 1367. So totally about 1350 crores worth of purchases from the institutions. So what happened to the US market? US market Dow Jones closed lower. S&P was almost flat, and Nasdaq closed slightly higher. Nothing much happening on the US market front. Futures are slightly down as we go into trade today. What other global cues can we understand before we go into trade today? US dollar index had gone up. Now it's about 97.6. So long as it trades below 102, it is bearish in my opinion. 95 could be the first target, 90 the second target, while the US Treasury Secretary wants it at 88. 10-year yield went up significantly because the market got the jitters that the inflation will increase rather than decrease because of the tariffs. So 10-year bond yield went up to 4.41. Brent crude was around 70. Bitcoin, of course, we don't really track it. Indian ADRs did well by and large. Infosys, ICICI, HDFC, and Wipro, all of them gained 0.35 to zero point 0.9. Reddy was the biggest loser because of the uh, pharma tariffs. Today, what we can look forward to, LG Equipments, because SBI Mutual Fund has bought a huge quantity. Dixon Tech, because of some JV. Oil and gas, because they are now going to reform the sector, is what the market is talking about. Indian Oil Corporation looks a very interesting bet, in my opinion. We don't have it, but it looks very interesting in that sector. Also, it's got a good dividend deal. Union Bank of India has done reasonably well, but I don't know whether it will be in the positive territory for long. JSW Steel, particularly, they have done crude steel output is up 14%. Hindustan Copper and Vedanta should do well. Hindustan Copper we hold because Trump has put 50% tariffs on Hindustan Copper. BEL continues to win orders. They got another order from Indian Navy. HCL Tech has now got some new collaboration. Tata Steel production has not gone up, so it may be negative. cable and wire stocks will be hurt because of copper prices going up. So global prices actually went up yesterday 13%. While it may benefit Vedanta and Hindustan Copper, the tertiary industries or the secondary industries like which make copper, transformers, and cables, all those companies will be under pressure. So Trump's, we need to talk about Trump almost every day. He says August 1st is the deadline and it will not change. And he says BRICS countries will pay minimum of 10%. So India is also included there. Is expecting a 200% tariff on pharma imports, he says, but that will happen 12 to 18 months later. So once you talk of 12 to 18 months later, so whatever, downward drift which you see or downward crash you see in pharma stocks may be a good place to actually go and accumulate. So then he says no more trade talks. So we don't know what Trump says. One day he says something, next day he says something else. But nevertheless, that's why it throws you off balance. But nevertheless, if you focus that overall Trump is good for markets globally, then we should not worry. When Gift Nifty shows a 27-point drop, we would continue to buy on decline. Yesterday we bought on decline. We couldn't get much in the stocks, but in the Nifty futures and Bank Nifty futures, we were able to make some money. So at the end of the day, this is what the chart I would like to look at. So you'll have to balance your fear and greed. There are sharks in the water, but if you look at it, the trend is upwards. So you balance slowly and steadily. You will chart these treacherous waters, which may seem treacherous, but if you do not lose your balance, physical as well as mental as well as fiscal, then I think you should end up much, much more wealthier by the end of the year. That is as far as my analysis says. So whatever you do, I hope it is successful. Thank you for joining me.